Top 10 Best Golf Courts in the World. Hello viewers, welcome to another exciting edition and thanks for watching. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. In today's video, we shall be talking about the top 10 best golf courts in the world. Any attempt to rank the top 10 golf courts in the world is an exercise that would bring the most brilliant minds in the game to blows. The modern game of golf has been played since the 15th century in Scotland, and from the humble rolling sheep grazing spaces of the early courts of the British Isles, through the grand venues of the open rota and similar, to the wild-ranging masterpieces in the US, there is no shortage of brilliant golf courses to choose from. Pedigree, popularity, and richness will be the three defining criteria for this ranking. But of course, this is no exact science, and any ranking is an inherent subjective exercise. To that end, feel free to disagree or debate. Any and all discussion ultimately betters the game we all love and serves to enhance future venues. Number 10. Muirfield. 16-time host of the Open Championship, Muirfield simply oozes pedigree, and restored to the Open Rota after a vote to admit women as full members. The Honourable Society of Edinburgh golfers avoided torpedoing its distinguished reputation. Phil Mickelson's triumph at the 2013 edition has this course looming large in the chapters of recent Open lore. Muirfield's signature clockwise front 9, counter-clockwise back 9 also unique routine scheme introduced during HS Colt's 1925 redesign. A distinguished Open Championship pedigree, and this singularity makes Muirfield one of the finest courses in the Open Rota. It edges out national thanks to its storied history as a host of the Open Championship, beating a dead horse here, but any ranking is about the narratives therein, and the story of Muirfield is one of the richest in golf, with a high-quality golf course to boot. Number 9. Royal Melbourne Golf Club East. Australia's most distinguished venue, Royal Melbourne, has hosted a buffet of Australian Amateur Championships and Australian Opens, 16 to be precise. The course is Australia's oldest and longest continually existing club. Critics often maintain Mackenzie sought to mimic the green space sandiness arrangement of the course's placement in its environment with its greens and surrounding bunkering. The finest course in Australia, an Alistair Mackenzie gem, Royal Melbourne's bunkering is an example of the height of the art form. Players rave about the variety of unique approach shots and stellar greens at Melbourne's East Course. Ultimately, Royal Melbourne is about the combination of brilliant artist Mackenzie walking in a new medium, Australia's Sunbelt. Royal Melbourne beat out Muirfield thanks to greater visual variety and ultimately superiority as a track. If this course were in the United States, it would have hosted several US Opens and Open plays inside the top 5 in this and similar rankings. Number 8. Oakmont Country Club. Host venue for last year's US Open debacle, Dustin Johnson's first major win, Oakmont's US Open pedigree is first-rate. Recent restoration work under the watchful eye of Tom Fazio focused on a massive tree removal effort to return Oakmont to its original state. Thus, for this first time in many years, the brilliance of this suburban Pittsburgh track was on full display at the 2016 US Open. Uniqueness, church pews, massive undulating greens, which are arguably the most difficult in the world. Popular lore maintains that the putting surfaces are actually slowed down for the US Open, if you can believe it. Also, the peculiarity of the fauns factor. Rather than a notable course architect, the course was laid out by its industrialist founder, an example of an amateur effort exceeding the best work of professionals if we've ever seen one. The greens are the best and worst thing about Oakmont, and such a major storyline. Number 7. Royal Donut Golf Club Championship. Not incredibly well known to many in the United States, Old Tom Morris' second finest Scottish golf venue. Donut was also notably architect Donald Ross' home course. The history of Donut, unfortunately, is one of the biggest, which passed over due to its relatively inaccessibility, which unfortunately diminishes its tournament pedigree. The font of Rose's inspiration and early Old Tom masterstroke, Royal Donut is one of the most stellar links courses in all of Scotland. Thus, it's a shame most of golf fans haven't heard of it. Unlike most link venues, however, you can't run the ball onto the greens at Donut, as most are elevated, presenting a unique challenge amid the wavy, fickle Scottish winds. Bumping the underappreciated gems this far up the list and ahead of a powerhouse like Oakmont is a firm statement about its brilliance, and in a sense, something of a plea not to weight tournament history so highly in the world of top 100 lists. Number 6. Royal County Down Golf Club. Royal County Down has hosted a bevy of significant competitions, including the British Amateur, Scottish Cup, Walker Cup, Palmer Cup and the Irish Open 3 times, most recently in 2015. The 4th and 9th holes are a pair of the finest in the world. While Old Tom gets the credit, many hands have worked on Royal County Down over the years. Ultimately, the course's primacy is as much about the sheer beauty of the landscape as it is the layouts, which is saying something since the RCD is widely regarded as having one of the best front nines in the world. In deciding between Dunwich and County Down, as it were, the edges goes to Royal County Down due to a more storied history with significant tournaments. However, that's not necessarily fair to Dunwich due to the course's inaccessibility, but such is life. Number 5. Shinnecock Hills Golf Club. Most recently, Shinnecock hosted the Knight Marish 2004 US Open won by Mickelson. The venue has hosted an additional 3 US Opens in its time and is slated to host again in 2018. One of the earliest links venues in the US, William Flint's networking of an original CB McDonald design, is a gold standard for course improvements, so much so that the track really hasn't been touched since. A gem of New York, New Jersey links design, Shinnecock is the best of breed for a style of course. You find plenty of it in the New York, New Jersey area. The relative recent surge in US Open hosting duties tells you how the USGA, generally good judges of course character, feel about Flint's Southampton masterpiece. Simply the best of breed factor elevates Shinnecock ahead of County Down, which is not the single best course of the Isles link style. Number 4. Cypress Point Club. Once a part of the AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am, the course was ingloriously dropped from the trifecta after refusing to admit a black member in the early 90s. It remains, however, an absolutely glorious collection of golf holes. All Alistair Mackenzie had to do was weave the most brilliant routing he could through his staggering property. Fortunately for the golf world, he did just that. The ultimate setting, pardon the crudeness, but just look at this fridging place, almost otherworldly in its brilliance. Playing golf at Cypress must feel like tilling it up at the shoreline of heaven. The course's unique decision to remain short, just over 6,500 yards, rather than adding length to combat technology is a fitting statement. Cypress is perfect just the way it is. If you place Shinnecock and Cypress Point side by side, the superiority of Cypress from the complete picture standpoint will be readily apparent to both casual observers and architecture buffs, hence it rightfully lands in the 4th position. Number 3. Augusta National Golf Club. A little tournament called the Masters every April. For one, Augusta National is the only course on this list that's a fixture on the major golf calendar every year. Brilliant writers have filled volumes with the history of the course, thus attempting to distill the lore into a paragraph is inherently fruitless. Mackenzie and Jones led the course out in 1933, but the existing track bears little resemblance to that design, having been endlessly reworked by architects like Perrier, Maxwell, etc. The perfectly prepared, painstakingly improved upon home of the Masters. The membership with the unlimited resources dedicated to the continued pursuit of the perfect golf course from a certain aesthetic standpoint. Having prepared a paradisiacal golf venue, it's impossible to celebrate Masters history from the course itself when attempting to evaluate ANGC, but that's part of the brilliance. As mentioned, the centrality of the Masters tournament animates both the history and story of the Augusta National. At the end of the day, great golf courses are all about narrative. ANGC's is among the strongest, and it's only beaten out by a superior piece of property and a course with an even more distinguished track. Number 2. Pine Valley Golf Club. Pine Valley doesn't really do the whole hosting big time tournaments thing, so there's nothing to speak of on that front, other than the curious amateur event, the Crump Cup. The Cup is an amateur competition which the public can watch. Course founder George Crump tapped some of the best architectural minds of the early 20th century to create this unique island-to-island layout. Secret singular brilliance in the Barrens of New Jersey. Pine Valley has something of the look of a desert venue surrounded by pine trees, and if that sounds incredible, that's because it is. Golf Digest Top 100 ranking said it best. Pine Valley blends all 3 schools of golf design: penal, heroic and strategic, throughout the course, oftentimes on a single hole. Tops on Golf Magazine's list since 1985, Pine Valley is rightfully the darling of golf architecture enthusiasts. Singularity and uniform praise elevates Pine Valley's profile. Really, given the course layout, it would be difficult to host the massive galleries of a professional tournament, so we are not docking PV for a lack of pedigree on that front. Number 1. St Andrews Old Course. The Old Course has hosted the Open Championship a record of 29 times, including most recently in 2015. They've been playing golf on this particular piece of property since the 15th century. Like Augusta National, volumes upon volumes have been written about the Old Course, but its primacy in the world of golf history cannot be approached and will remain forever unsurpassed. No single hand has carved this storied masterpiece. The birthplace of the game, the Old Course has pedigree in spades. Its massive rolling greens, cavernous bunkers, blind shots, the peculiar road hole all add up to a brilliant layout. Uniquely variable and weather dependent, all course designs either imitates the old course or refutes it. Thus it remains the touchstone for every other course on this list. The Old Course is the veritable home of the essence of the game as it was originally conceived. If the venue had never hosted a major championship, it would rank high on this list. However, the Old Course's distinguished history as an Open Championship host pushes it on the top position. There you have it, those were the top 10 best golf courts in the world. Thanks for watching. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share with your friends, subscribe to our channel and turn on post notification.